Alright, what's going on, guys? Hope you all are doing well. So, ever since the beginning of Cold War Zombies, the meta has changed and evolved pretty significantly. We've gotten the field upgrade system, which is a returning feature in Zombies, but has been altered in Cold War Zombies, and new ones have come out to where we have quite a lot to choose from now, and they all have their own individual upgrade trees and uses and abilities that are more cut out for different scenarios. Now, there's been a few new added since the last time we've talked about these, and today we're going to be ranking every single field upgrade from worst to best. We're going to see how these stack amongst each other and basically what scenarios you should be using each field upgrade for, and also which ones you should be primarily running based on your playstyle and how you generally tend to play the game. So, sit back, relax. If you enjoy the video, make sure to drop a thumbs up. It only takes a second of your time. And if you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe for more Zombies content, of course. And also, really quick, I have a very special announcement. The new merch is finally available. I've been working on this for a very long time, and I'm super proud with how it came out. As we start to enter the fall months and hoodie season comes around, consider picking yourself up one. It's a great way to support me in the channel. You can find these linked in the description. If you do pick up some merch, please tweet me and let me know so that I can thank you over there. Regardless, though, thank you very much to all of you for continuing to support the channel. And with that being said, let's get into it. So coming today at our worst spot of these field upgrades has to be Energy Mine, and I'm not going to say that it's completely pointless to use or that you should never ever pick up Energy Mine, but what I am going to tell you is it's very one-dimensional. There's a lot of field upgrades in Cold War that can be used like for a variety of purposes even within the same field upgrade itself, but can be used in like tons of different scenarios, although Energy Mine is not really good at any of those things except just killing a horde of zombies. That's basically it, and it's not even a good panic option either, because your Energy Mine does not instantly explode or activate. One of the upsides, though, is you do get multiple charges with this, and it does wipe out hordes pretty efficiently in and of itself. But really, when it comes down to it, there's nothing that Energy Mine does that, like, another piece of equipment or even another field upgrade can't do but better. It is worth noting when it's fully upgraded, it does have multiple pulses that explode, and also it can stun special enemies, but at that point, it only stuns them, and there's far more effective options for actually taking out elites and special enemies rather than Energy Mine. Again, not completely pointless, but certainly the lowest tier of field upgrades on this list. It did launch with the game, and the meta like kind of evolved around it, so it makes sense it's not the best, but it definitely has to come in at the worst spot. But moving on, coming up next is another pretty like low tier field upgrade, but actually has a couple of uses where it really shines. This is going to be Frost Blast, and after a little bit of playing around with this and fully upgrading it, I think that this is maybe the field upgrade that improves the most with its Ethereum Crystal upgrade tree, but even so, I think that it just kind of does the same thing as Energy Mine, where it's really good at wiping out a horde of zombies, and it does so in pretty much an Origins Ice Staff fashion. One of the best things about Frost Blast, even compared to Energy Mine, is it like instantly activates, and that's so important in a fast-paced mode like Cold War Zombies, where the Energy Mine has to come out, hit the ground, and then explode. Frost Blast just immediately just takes out zombies in an entire ring around you. One of the downsides is it's not really good against like specials or elite enemies all too much. For the most part, it's got the same issue as well as Energy Mine, where it's fairly one-dimensional. There isn't a whole lot of interesting things that you can do with Frost Blast other than immediately kill zombies, and that's about it. However, if you're playing something like a team-based setting in Outbreak, one really special property that Frost Blast has is it will prevent hellhounds from leaving fire on the ground when being killed. If you take them out with Frost Blast, they'll pretty much just like disintegrate, and they won't leave the fire residue on the ground that you'll take damage over time with, and that is unbelievably helpful. This field upgrade functions much better as a co-op field upgrade for sure, but you can use it solo, and it's got its uses, but I'm not going to sit here and try to convince you of it being like a high tier field upgrade or anything like that. But moving on next to our very, I would say, middle of the pack field upgrade, and this one's got a little bit more going on with it. This is going to be Healing Aura, and so I really think its effectiveness depends entirely on the like group of people that you're playing with. Of course, this is really not a good field upgrade solo. Of course, it makes you invincible and almost impossible to kill while it's active, but its primary use, of course, is keeping teammates alive, healing them when they go down, and allowing them to keep their perks as well and prevent that perk decay. So it's incredibly useful and used in the right scenarios. It also does stun lock zombies in the direct vicinity when you activate it, and that can be a really good like panic option, but of course there's way better ones if you're just looking in that regard. I think Healing Aura is almost useless if you're playing with like skilled players that kind of know how to handle themselves and can keep themselves alive. If you're playing with you know, a little bit less skilled players that need a little bit of help, help in kind of getting their bearings and getting a feel for the game and just trying to get up to speed, then I think Healing Aura is actually a great like training wheel to keep those players alive and give them the most in-game experience. Otherwise, I don't really see much of a point in this field upgrade because there's a lot of them that can really help you just to prevent from going down, sort of nullifying the point of Healing Aura in the first place. But again, it's not completely useless, and especially for newer players, I am going to recommend this field upgrade most likely. But if you're an experienced veteran or even a moderately skilled zombies player, you probably won't get much use out of Healing Aura. But coming up next to our, I guess, more average or higher tier, this one is going to be Tesla Storm, and this one is certainly specialized and similar to Healing Aura. It's primarily used as a co-op field upgrade because it boosts your teammates' movement speed and also almost makes you completely invincible to regular zombies. It creates an aura around you that shocks zombies and damages over time. It even stun locks special and elite enemies in place. It does not make you invulnerable to plague hounds though, because they can still jump at you. The idea behind Tesla Storm is that you can very easily like buff and boost the rest of your teammates and, you know, just give them all a little bit of extra speed, make them slightly less susceptible to damage, stuff like that. I think one of the biggest problems with Tesla Storm is it's really not that good in solo at all, and also it really could do with a second charge. I think for this to be a really solid field upgrade, it would need to have two different charges that you could use. And I'm not gonna lie, it does recharge very quickly, so you don't need to kill too many zombies before you can use it again. It'll come out quite frequently, but at the same time, I feel like, especially as a solo player, there are gonna be other options that are far better to run that are a lot more specialized than Tesla Storm, but this is not bad as far as like if you're playing with a good team and you don't expect them to go down a whole lot and you just want to like buff the rest of them. Honestly, run Tesla Storm and you guys will basically run through everything. I think Tesla Storm is very good. I just don't think it's literally the best. But moving on, and coming up next is one I really did not expect to be very good at all. I thought this was going to be the worst in the game. This is going to be Toxic Growth. This is literally the ultimate field upgrade sleeper pick of the year. I saw this one coming to the game. I'm like, this is going to be garbage. It's going to be the worst. But what I figured out is this is one of the most interesting field upgrades in Cold War Zombies because effectively you can basically place little barriers down that can manipulate the spawns and pathing of zombies in effect. With this field upgrade, you can essentially create your own viable camping strategies. You know, and previously in Zombies, the only places you could camp in were ones that the map allowed you to, but you can use Toxic Growth to essentially create your own camping strategies. Now, this field upgrade is not, and I repeat, not whatsoever cut out for anything like an outbreak and doing objectives and stuff like that. It's not a very good, like, offensive option. But if you are playing a round-based map and camping in that and doing some of these, like, holdout strats, then of course Toxic Growth is the best. If you're playing Onslaught as well, it is by far superior to every other field upgrade for this mode. You do need to get it fully upgraded because you get multiple charges that allow you to set up these camping spots, and they have a pretty fair amount of health and they last for quite a long time. So you can replace them pretty much as you're just holding out in your camping strategy. It's very, very effective. And somewhat contradictory to a lot of the other field upgrades, it's good both in solo and in co-op, surprisingly. So I've got really nothing negative to say about Toxic Growth, and I actually think it's a very, very solid field upgrade in Cold War. So moving on to our next field upgrade, very high tier one, is of course going to have to be Ring of Fire. And this should be no shock to anybody who plays high rounds as well. I think that the combination of both Toxic Growth and Ring of Fire in like a high round game of co-op is absolutely ridiculously broken. Even in solo though, it's just by far the field upgrade you need for like the cracked round 100 strats. Obviously, it gives you a ridiculous damage boost that makes a lot of these like high round strategies in most maps like Mauer Toten, Firebase Z, and also D Machine possible. And it has a very interesting and unique property in which if you're in the ring as well, it will completely block and nullify all projectiles. So this means megatons trying to shoot you from a distance or like Panzer Soldat, stuff like that, will not get through that ring so long as it's active and you can melt them pretty easily. One of the only real downsides is it requires you to be fairly immobile. You know, you have to stay within the ring to even get the effect. So like it's not great for running around and doing things very quickly, but if you just need to hold out in spots or again doing these round 100 strategies, Ring of Fire is an absolute must-have, and it also pretty much needs to be upgraded without a doubt. But otherwise an absolutely phenomenal field upgrade. But moving on to our next spot is going to be a one that was on launch as well in Cold War, Aether Shroud. Now this one is very interesting because Aether Shroud very much changes when you upgrade it to a point where it's It's one of the most creative field upgrades in the entire game, and I'll explain why. Its most basic approach is to use this when you're in trouble. Like if you get cornered, it's the like instant panic option you want to go for because it makes you invulnerable, basically invisible to zombies for a small period of time. Now you do get 2 charges with this when fully upgraded, but the interesting bit is that it also significantly increases your movement speed, and you also blink forward a little bit whenever you activate it if it is fully upgraded indeed. Now the cool part about that is you can kind of use this to like blink through buildings and like get around debris that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to get through. Like you can actually go up and down floors using Aether Shroud if you're good enough to where like you don't even need to traverse the stairs, or like otherwise you can just like pop out of buildings you couldn't do before. Aether Shroud is almost as good as Healing Aura, I would argue, in terms of like keeping teammates alive, because it just gives you a free window of invulnerability to pick up teammates. Of course, they won't really keep their perks or like stay alive all that much, but Aether Shroud has so many different ways it can be utilized, and it's one of the most creative ones in the entire game. But last and certainly not least, the #1 spot in my opinion has to go to Frenzied Guard, and it's entirely possible I'm a little bit biased as basically a solo player. This is just easily the most practical of the field upgrades in my opinion for any scenario, and I do play a lot of Outbreak, so maybe that has a lot to do with it as well. It's like I only alternate between Frenzied Guard or Aether Shroud for this mode. Like I literally use nothing else, but it seems to get the job done. And one of the biggest like upsides to Frenzied Guard is not only replaces your armor, which is huge, but it completely slows down the pace of the zombies to like a shambling speed, even if they're super sprinters. So you can really cut down and like kind of regather yourself. And if you're using this in a team-based mode as well, you can take a lot of pressure off your teammates, and it's just like unbelievably useful in that case. Now the only downside, it takes a lot of zombie kills to recharge. I think maybe the maximum in the entire game, but I would say the reward and benefit you get from getting Frenzied Guard and utilizing it properly far outweighs the work and requirements that you need to put in to necessarily obtain it in the first place. But I think it's the best field upgrade for pretty much any case, and can be applied virtually anywhere in Cold War Zombies. Again, there are some specialized ones like Ring of Fire is better for camping, and Aether Shroud might be better for like traversing the map, but Frenzied Guard is really good just for overall survival and not taking downs. But this is how I rank all of the field upgrades in Cold War Zombies. Let me know what you think of my list down below in the comment section. What is your favorite field upgrade? Definitely let me know as well. If you guys enjoyed the video though, before you go, drop a thumbs up, subscribe if you're brand new, and of course, if you want to go check out the merch, once again, link to that's in the description. Also, if you want to go check me out on Twitch, I'll be streaming over there tonight. That can also be found down below. But if you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching all the way through. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Have a great rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.